Hi, I'm Ross Barry and you're watching Friday 5 at 5, June 19. It's been a stoush that's been brewing for years and this week it hit a flashpoint. Environmentalists have sought to restrict mountain biking in coastal open spaces or COS areas, including in particular Kincumber Mountain. Their calls come with assertions of mountain bikers cutting down small trees, digging new trails and building jumps.
So erosion is increasing. They're cutting down saplings, making ramps, digging mounds, making jumps, moving rocks. So little bit by little bit, the vegetation is being damaged or destroyed.
But the mountain biking community have hit back, saying there simply just aren't enough approved trails to accommodate the growth in demand from tourists and locals alike. They've also reported people booby-trapping trails with life-threatening logs and sharpened sticks. Well-known champion mountain biker Matt Harrington had this to say on the matter.
As old as the sport, really, there's been conflicts all over the world, just sort of, ignorance on both sides, misunderstandings on both sides, the lack of sort of, close working and collaboration to think about how to use and manage sort of recreation in these public reserves. So I guess I've been mountain biking originally in the UK for many years, sort of tracked the growth of the sport, probably for about over 30 years. And it's not a new thing at all. It's interesting that it's actually getting some press attention, and we are genuinely, as the mountain bike community that I'm a part of, we are genuinely trying to work together and collaboratively with the land managers, other community user groups, kind of promote sort of respectful and sort of sensitive usage.
Central Coast councillors will decide on Monday night whether to accept the recommendation from staff to increase council rates and all associated levies by 2.6%. Council has already passed a 2.2% increase in water rates this year, and the increases have created some concern among households who are already struggling with a loss of income linked to the COVID-19 shutdown. Copacabana residents are upset by the imminent removal of a brace of casuarina trees from Susan Fahey Park as Central Coast Council undertake a major upgrade of the reserve. Set to face the chop are 30 casuarinas to make way for the installation of picnic tables and a shelter and barbecue. Council says 2 new trees will be planted for every one removed, but residents say the trees are an endangered ecological community and are pushing for an alternative approach. And some strange announcements from the Prime Minister this morning on an ongoing cyber attack on Australian government organisations and infrastructure.
Advice provided to me by our cyber experts, Australian organisations are currently being targeted by a sophisticated state-based cyber actor.
State-sponsored cyber attacks have been an increasing threat over the past few years, and the Prime Minister seems to think we've hit a threshold this week, and his announcement today suggests a more assertive government response might be looming. I think the best thing is to stay calm and check out cyber.gov.au for more information and guidance. Now closer to home, Central Coast Council staff have reportedly issued councillors with a social media code of conduct, an order which includes strict protocols on councillors communicating with the public. The so-called gag order has not pleased everyone, however, including Entrance-based councillor Bruce McLaughlin.
And so I think we'll see the social media policy used like they use the code of meeting policy in the meetings. You'll notice in the meetings, certain councillors will jump up and do points of order. Point of order, they will try and knock the debate down, try and stop the councillor who is speaking up about something, take his mind off what he's trying to say, impede it. And you'll see the same thing with the social media policy. You'll see petty complaints against councillors who post up criticism of what's really going on, and this will be used as a code of conduct, warnings against people like myself. And and I could be censured, I could eventually be removed. So that's how I see the situation with the social media policy. I think it's an important medium for people to know what's going on, and I think in this day and age we've seen the decline of the local paper, the Express and things like that, and you guys have stepped up with the community news, which is great to see. But social media is an important platform to keep people informed.
In other news, the coast's leading enviro warrior, Jake Cassar, has fired some pretty direct criticism at the Darkinjung Land Council. Cassar is outraged at the development proposal by the Darkinjung for a new 70-home residential subdivision in existing bushland on Woy Woy Road at Carryong.
Right across the board, an extremely sensitive and important area for us to preserve for our children, but also for the members of the Darkinjung Land Council. I'm appealing to them, and I know some of them, to work with us to make sure that we can focus on not only sustainable development, but exciting development that the Central Coast wants and needs. This isn't good for the community. It's going to cause division. I put my neck on a chopping block reluctantly, but what are we going to do? We fought for 10 years to protect Bambara. There'd been 13 whole campaigns to protect that area 70 years before we started. Okay, decade after decade. We're not going to back down. Everyone that I've spoke to has said, you're fighting a losing battle. I've heard that before. I heard it with Bambara. I heard it with Calga. I heard it with the 25 reserves. I heard it with the Eagle's Nest at Wadalba. We're not going to go down without a fight, but we would rather sit down. I've tried to contact the Land Council. We'd rather sit down and speak as adults in a mature sense and see how we can work this out, because this is not a good development.
Now, while the very popular annual Five Lands Walk had to be cancelled this year, Avoca-based organiser and music maestro Yantra Deville has constructed the event as a YouTube musical premiere, which will be live streamed around the coast later tonight. I caught up with Yantra earlier today.
This is a reinvention of the Five Lands Walk opening ceremony, which we had last year, 2019, and we've made a film out of it. And it features the ephemera choir, 60-piece ephemera choir, and 10-piece music ensemble with some of the coast's finest musicians, Indigenous performers, the Booja Booja dancers, the all-female dance troupe from Sydney, Gavi Duncan on didgeridoo, wonderful cultural consultant for the project, Yui Davey on Yue Chin, which is Chinese, Pamela Ives as also woman. So it's very multicultural, is at the heart of this project. And I was indeed supported by the Multicultural Arts New South Wales and Central Coast Council. One of the Aboriginal Action Committees, Phil Bly, said that he sees this as an important work of reconciliation, because it's how we're coming together in connecting the things that unite us rather than the things that divide us, because we can always find them.
And finally, Ross, on a sad note, the Kilcare community lost one of its most beloved residents last week with the passing of musician, community organiser, social justice advocate and cherished mother, Narelle Jones. Her funeral was on Wednesday at Greenway and was live streamed to many hundreds of people all around the coast and indeed around the nation. She touched the lives of many people, this remarkable woman and her love of music.
Thank you, David. A beautiful woman and a wonderful family, and our thoughts are with them this week. Turning to sport now, and the Central Coast Rugby Union this week released a draw for 2020. The shortened season will be played over 9 rounds, with each club to play each other once and a 4-week final series to be held in October. The first week of action is currently scheduled to kick off on July 18 with Avoca Beach taking on Gosford at Heaslett Park. In Rugby League, the Central Coast adopted New Zealand Warriors endured a try frenzy last Friday night to upset the North Queensland Cowboys with a 37-26 win at Central Coast Stadium. Halves Blake Green and Cody Nikorima were in sparkling form, as was centre Peter Hiku, who scored 3 tries. The Warriors are now 2 wins from 5 rounds and take to the field at Banks West Stadium tonight against the Rabbitohs. Coast Community News issue number 247 was hot off the press this morning, including all these stories and much more. And for those of you wondering what has happened to Joffa and the Woy Woy Philosopher Society, I have it on good authority they will be back next week after a deep dive Schopenhauer offsite. Finally, a quick update on the vote for the best CCN newsreader. And the tally so far stands at Jacinta 167 votes, Bring Back Georgia campaign 166 votes, and the current old guy with the beard 3 votes if you include his mum. Wait, That can't be right. It says there my wife voted for Jacinta. I think a recount might be required. It's very disappointing. And we leave you this week with a preview of tonight's premiere Five Lands Walk event, which this year comes to you in musical form via YouTube and kicks off at 8 p.m. See you next week. Or not.